Sponsored by the Mike Morris Law Firm. 855 Mike Wins. Jason Carr Live starts now.
Let's look at the hashtag.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's
Hi.
Thursday. Look at that. We're on.
I know. Hey, how are you? Welcome to Jason Carr Live.
The 9:15-ish. John Steckroth back here.
Hey,
the
John.
fine voice of the sponsor leading in. And
I'm listening to
the
this
brains.
retro music. I've never heard it before. It's
trying
very
to-
like 70s. It's making me think of like Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah.
that
This
show?
is,
Good one.
well, this is actually the theme music.
Well, we're in the newsroom area, so they're moving stuff around. You're good.
I wish
Go
that
for
the
it.
camera could see.
There you can.
We've got
Let's-
this old
let's take a quick
sofa
look.
There it
moving down the
goes.
hallway. That's Adam Helfman from Hire It Done.
Yes, and Freddie, our maintenance guy, and apparently, build the ark, Noah. 'cause
Yeah.
I don't know what
Maybe
they're
they're
doing.
fixing the sofa. You can kind of hire him to do anything. His company, anyway. But
I'm trying to find us on Facebook, and I haven't
Oh.
seen it come up yet, so I can.
so I wanted to share kind of a big deal that's happening here and perhaps even across the country. But there's this nationwide protest. It's called Day Without Immigrants, and the protest is among businesses that are deciding that today is the day that they're going to close their business, not open, and instead gather together and protest over the current presidential immigration policies that many people that, of course, have come from immigrant descent, that are here, first generation or beyond, are very troubled by that policy and have decided, many businesses, particularly in Southwest Detroit, which we're showing you right now around the Mexican town area,
Right.
have decided not to open today.
That'll be the prime focus, I think, locally, will be the Mexican town area of Detroit, and a president who is doing a lot in his first couple of months, and some people not so for it, but he's keeping up with some campaign promises and doing his thing, but certainly it is very polarizing one way or the other, and people protesting everything from New England Patriots' trip to the White House to jobs and the immigration ban, things like that.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to find, because it's Day Without Immigrants, they have a hashtag. I was just wanting to kind of get a feel for what people are saying, what they're posting, if there's anything here locally.
Well,
Well, I
Devin
know-
Hoffman tells us best news ever. I saw that. Thank you, Devin.
I know the E&L Supermercado in Mexican Town is going to be closed. There's about a dozen businesses, at least in that neighborhood. Yesterday, Milwaukee had 150 businesses closed.
Okay, so it's not just one
thousands
day.
Marching. Well, yeah, I don't know why that one was yesterday, but I think today
Trying to make
is
sure you
the
can
big
see, John.
national day.
And listen,
Well,
stand up
actually,
for what you believe in, pro or con, for or against, right?
Clark Park, actually, yesterday I was reading, and this is right in the Mexican town area. It's right near Western International High School, if you're familiar with Southwest Detroit. But Clark Park there, they held a little protest there last night, and they also said that they were gathering there again this morning. So if it is something that you care about, that you're passionate about, you want to show your support for these businesses, that's an opportunity to do so. But it's certainly, a lot of people are worried. A lot of people are scared,
Yeah. I think, I'm not going to get political here at all. We don't stand on either side of this. I am very hopeful that President Trump will do a wonderful job. It just seems like his platform is really accelerated to the point where we, trying to get our hands on it. And there could be people from, Italian immigrants or Egyptian immigrants that maybe aren't on this ban, but they feel like they don't know enough about it. Haven't been educated enough as to what it is moving forward. Should I be concerned?
Right.
And so it's certainly for any nationality, any immigrant coming in, no matter if you were sort of on one of the countries of concern, you would have concerns. It makes sense.
Absolutely. So it's something that you can get involved in, that you can follow. Certainly there's outpouring in our community because we are so multicultural. There are so many people that have immigrated here from all over the country, which is kind of what makes the Metro Detroit area so beautiful, is that it is so multicultural. We get to experience places like Mexican Town and all the different types of ethnicities and restaurants and things like that. And
Tasty Tuesday, we featured
plenty
of them. Patty on Facebook says, I don't understand the Day Without Immigrants when President said clearly illegal immigrants. I will take not of those who closed their businesses and make sure not to support them.
Any opposing
on the other side, I'm
opinion
just kind of
to that?
scrolling through here. Stay Gone says Scott's.
Maybe we might want to
Buyer's
censor these a
remorse,
little bit.
question mark. I hope the head... Oh, we haven't gotten to that story yet.
Okay.
Interesting story. Maybe we should move on.
All right, but that's something that's going on right now. So
Yes.
something we want you to keep
Clark
you
Park
aware
this morning.
of. Clark Park this morning. And then...
This was a story that I suggested, not knowing if we had aired it before, and John said, yeah, we have, but certainly in light of everything going on, worth noting, and I talked to you about it, and you have something very interesting to add. But if you haven't heard, according to the Sports Journal, Business Journal, civil rights activist Rosa Parks was left vulnerable after an assault and robbery near her home back in the early 90s. And apparently, Mike Ilitch came to her rescue. Ilitch offered to pay Parks rent at the Riverfront Apartments. In 2004, the owners of the Riverfront Apartments agreed to let Parks live in the building rent-free for the rest of her life, and she made it another year or so.
Yeah.
Which is an awesome story.
It is an amazing story, and that just goes to show you Mike Ilitch is so generous and kind of in an unsung way. He didn't expect that to ever be publicized, but we should also recognize Judge Damon Keith and Alfred Taubman, because Alfred Taubman owned the riverfront, and so they all kind of came together to find space for her to make sure that she got out of her house. And other community and business leaders also stepped up and donated money, kind of almost like a GoFundMe of the early 90s. It wasn't really like that type of organized way, but when people realized that Rosa Parks was living somewhere at her age in a vulnerable area, the entire community, including Mike Ilitch, stepped in to make sure that she was safe and had a place to live and never had to worry about that again.
Nobody knew about it at the time, right? It wasn't...
Well, I think it was talked about a little bit, maybe some small articles, but I'm going to step away for just a moment. I have a quick cut-in to do on
the television side of it.
Local 4, but I'll be back to chat with you a little bit more.
Awesome.
Okay.
John and I will...
We'll keep this going.
Keep it going.
There you go. Unplug. So yeah, that's a story that we have covered before, but in light of the viewing yesterday at the Fox Theater for Mr. I and what they did at the Joe last night, putting his name in the ice at Joe Louis Arena, pretty awesome stuff, and a guy who just simply represented everybody in Detroit, along with some others. So, great story there about Mike Ilitch. Now, John, this next one blows my mind, pun intended. A head transplant. Explain to me.
This is a real head transplant that they're talking about doing at least a year from now. The technology apparently is there. This is, what was his name? Sergio
Canavero.
He says he's got a lot of volunteers for this, and the first patient that they're looking to do this on is Valery Spiridonov, a 31-year-old man suffering from Weird-Hoffman's disease, a muscle wasting disease that's left him in a wheelchair. So the idea is to take his head off and put it on another body. And this is looking to be done maybe next year.
It just doesn't seem possible. But you see the gentleman there and the issues that he has, I guess, below his neck with his body, and you just have to wonder, how do you do this?
Yeah.
How do you volunteer to be the first person? Or, as it said, a number of people, I think, in England were wanting to be a part of this test, which is crazy to me. Absolute head transplant, brand new head. Everything has to be
same head. Brand new body.
Brand new body.
Brand new body.
Okay.
Yeah. And the idea, I guess, it'd be 150 medical staff in the room for 36 hours doing this procedure. And they'd have to freeze the head and body first to stop cells from dying, and then cut the neck, all the tubes, the arteries, the veins, start fitting them, and then the last thing is the spinal cord, which they'd have to use a diamond knife to be able to cut through it.
Right.
Special glues to be able to fuse them back together. In fact, this picture is interesting because he's got a banana with spaghetti, and I guess this was his idea, his way of like showing how the spinal cord fits together and how this procedure would work. So, but coming up soon, they're going to start doing it on patients that are already brain dead, and working with that to see how it actually takes and if it's possible. And,
Okay, so there could be there could be some.
My jaw's dropping
Right.
now. This is unbelievable.
So somebody who's perhaps in a vegetative state, don't have a chance really to do much, and the family says, okay, we're ready to move on, and so the body, still healthy, would be then donated to this gentleman.
Donated for science, for experimentation.
Well, the body would then go to this
person to
this
use
person,
for the rest of their life.
So he would take his head. He's got an issue, a muscular issue with his body, and so they would put his head on the. Again,
That would be unbelievable.
Man, I want to see if
Any comments on that? Wow.
it is pretty baffling. A lot of immigrant comments here. Matt Triplett joined. What's up, Matt?
Matt Triplett's
Hey, Matt. He works here.
Sorry to waste everybody's time here. Really not intending to. I should have stayed on top of this, but
Well, that's fascinating.
I know this is a serious story, but my reaction was, I'm not sure I want
a banana for a head.
a banana for a head.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Appreciate
about
that.
I thought about that too.
Who said that?
That was
Think of that.
Larry.
Larry Novak. Thanks,
one, Larry. Listen,
That's something.
jaw-dropping, mind-blown, all those puns intended, but you have to kind of wonder how that's
Yeah.
going to go and giggle a little bit just over.
How do we segue out of that into anything else?
Here's how we segue.
Okay.
Later today, we are having a Q&A on Facebook Live, probably at 12:15. We like to do the 12:15-ishes.
Okay. The ish.
And we're going to be talking about heart attacks, how to recognize that you could be having one or that someone else is having
Oh,
one.
that's so important.
Awesome.
So that's how you say
Is that you and the doctor?
that was, yeah, no, that was
Oh,
me.
well, Dr. McGeorge will be joining us?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, that's fantastic. He's
Yeah.
a wealth of knowledge, and heart disease is just one of those things that is 100% preventable.
Right.
In most cases, it's lifestyle, it's exercise, it's what you're eating. And first of all, prevention is important, but then knowing those signs.
Yeah.
And a lot of time it's you guys
I know.
who ignore some of the signs. And
However, heart disease amongst women,
is very prevalent
It
as well.
is.
It's actually that whole movement for February being Heart Health Awareness Month. Really, a lot of it was a women's movement to allow women to become more aware of our heart health, our risk, and our warning signs as well, because we didn't realize it was the #1 killer among women and men. So
the doctor
definitely
is
important.
so good at everything, and you imagine as an ER doctor, I mean, maybe he's not the cardiologist who's keeping a track of your heart and your condition for months and months, but does anybody see more heart attack patients than an ER doctor and have to deal with that? And what were your symptoms? I imagine he knows it all. And
He's
so,
kind of a specialist in a lot of different disease states. So he's a wealth of knowledge, and he knows how to make it in layman's terms so that we can all understand it very simply. So we love having him on board here. Elephants.
Yes.
Well, before we go to elephants, let's take a
Before.
look at this Throwback Thursday video that I have.
Oh, okay.
We have.
For the spirit of now, we're for the sweat on the brow, we're for a day at Belle Isle, for kids with the smile of Motown, we're for the tigers who throw, we've got get up and go like no town, we're for games at the Dome. We're for home in the comb, a swing and a hammock and a smiling and traffic. We're for feasting at Eastern Market. We're
Isn't that
Our
cool?
old jingle. I love it.
Yeah.
Is that like 70s?
Yes, late 70s, early 80s. I've got actually a whole slew of them. That was just the one.
That one kind of, before my time, I don't even remember it. I mean, we've had so many great jingles and some really good ones that really stick with you that are coming to mind, and that one kind of predates.
Things have changed a little bit. Back, it was more music and smiles.
Which it
and
makes you happy to
it
see all
does.
the, the giant slide at Belle Isle. I mean, you saw all those different little things. You kind of, I like that.
I do. And
it was long, though.
The current, I know, I was
we'd
thinking.
never be able to have a commercial
No.
that long today.
It's all about what we call POP, proof of performance, when we show you, here's what Channel 4 is working on. And it's become a more serious world, and so we cater to that perhaps, but those fun old 70s.
I would love to know. Let us know on Facebook Live if you'd
old
like
memories.
to see.
Thanks, guys, from Frederick Williams.
Very nice. Thanks, Frederick.
I remember Rhonda back when she was at, never mind.
I know, but the previous channel, we'll just say.
You and Jason have something in common. We'll just say that.
That is true.
Cool video, John, from Tammy Coleman.
Tammy Coleman, she's here every day.
Really?
Aw,
Every
hi,
day.
Tammy.
Awesome.
I know you're probably missing Jason, but thanks for joining us.
Yes, so hope that brought a little smile to your face this morning.
Yeah.
We're for
I know.
moving on to the elephants.
I like that. Yes, the elephants. Can we go to the elephants?
Yeah,
John?
let's
'Cause
go to the
I jumped the gun
elephants
last time.
Throwback Thursday, John. Great
Okay,
one.
so this is kind of something you don't usually see, a migration of elephants on the side of a mountain.
That's incredible. This is in Asia. A photographer was up there looking for birds, and he found some sort of
exactly a
Dr.
bird.
Seuss-like birds. These things, these 11 elephants were eating grass on a very steep slope on an Asian mountainside.
What a picture.
Listen, they never forget. They were up there last year, and they remember. No, you wonder what this is, some sort of sign of climate, global, whatever. That
Wow.
These animals are so incredibly intelligent. If you ever watch programs on them, they follow the same paths, from when they were born to where the food is and where the danger is, they know. Hence, an elephant never
Instinctively.
forgets, but they have had to go up to terrain that would not be suitable for them, real heavy body weight, and your
Yeah,
legs
that's what
have
I'm
to
thinking.
support that on a steep slope, but
And the photographer was saying that these hills are really, really slippery.
it
That
looks
just
like...
the vegetation itself
Yeah.
slips right from under you, and
And the rocks, too, are...
Yeah.
Yeah, and, maybe
What are they looking for?
Right.
a mountain goat or something like that you would see, with the right kind of hooves. You see those things like crazy, and they just hop around up there. But that's where the good grass is, I guess.
That's where the good grass is.
I hope I don't get in trouble for that.
For some reason, I know what you meant, but
But you can take that
this
however
day
you
and
want.
age, it has a new meaning.
Rewind that, play it back, get me in trouble.
Well, let's stick with wildlife, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. We have an alligator to show you.
Have you ever seen an orange alligator?
This is wild.
This-
It's an orange alligator. It was actually spotted here in the United States near Charleston in South Carolina. The Department of Natural Resources there says that the color may be from paint or come from where the animal spent the winter, perhaps.
At the tanning bed.
A rusty
spray
steel
tan.
pipe.
That makes sense.
Experts
Yeah,
do
maybe
say,
it was in
though.
a big,
Yeah.
drainage pipe that was rusted out, and it just got into his pigment, perhaps.
But they're saying it's not possible that this is how this alligator was born.
Some sort of.
But apparently, the way they shed their layers,
He'll get back to
he'll
normal?
go back to normal. I was going to say he, but then I'm like, well, alligator. How do you know the gender?
Well, it's tricky, Rhonda, but I.
He watches all this
generally-
animal stuff, so I'm thinking he knows how to tell.
Well, soon enough when he
Because
gets
it could
his.
be a female. You know, we like
Absolutely.
to change our hair color sometimes.
That's true. Meantime, he or she cannot play in any of the reindeer games, apparently. All the other
man.
alligators are making fun of him. But interesting, Charleston, South Carolina is where
Yeah.
John found that one.
Apparently,
and
it's happened before too, though.
back in Florida, back in the day. Well, that would make sense because if you know the University of Florida, they're orange and blue.
Oh, there you go. Someone might have spray painted that one.
Not in Charleston, my friends.
That's crazy. So I've been in South Carolina once and encountered an alligator.
Yeah. How'd
on a
that
golf
go?
course.
You made it back.
Freaked.
Yeah.
Did not do that hole. just like drove as far around as possible. But apparently they're very common down there, just
They
like
are.
Florida. But to see them just creep out in the middle of the fairway when you're golfing,
There's videos all
it's
over
nervousness.
Oh, yeah.
alligators fighting alligators.
Has that ever happened to you, Jason? Golfing? This is, I'm sorry, not Jason Carr, Colthorpe, but see an
Come on in.
alligator on the...
Tell us your alligator story.
We're talking alligator
Hi,
stories.
Jason.
Everybody, hi.
I was just talking about how I was golfing in Hilton Head, going, down the fairway, hit a ball, and all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah.
whoa! And up from up here, you're not used to seeing alligators ever.
I grew up in Florida, and that's where, like, I played on the high school golf team.
Oh.
Rule number 1 was don't go grab a ball out of the water anywhere. And we'd see them every now and then, just like
If you
Lying in the
saw
weeds.
one, in the marsh or even underwater, and you're 20 feet away with a chip shot, would you hit it or would you pick up and go?
What's everybody talking
Oh, but we were talking about
Alligators.
alligators. Here's Paul. Listen to this. I don't want to miss your story, but they're getting ready to go out on their stories today, and you could be the first to
Yes.
know what they're covering. Are you
You
allowed to
could.
tell us anything?
You could.
Paula
but
Tutman?
Yeah, but I'd have to kill you.
Really? Paula's
Sure.
very,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
very protective
we
of her,
know
over his
who else
coverage.
is watching this.
I'm greedy
We know
and
you're
selfish
watching.
with my stories.
Well, you look
No.
very beautiful
You
today.
look beautiful, but you always look beautiful.
We're not getting our stories.
How are you doing?
I'm doing
Channel
great.
Pretty.
Thank you.
I'm still looking into a few
Okay,
things.
bye
but-
guys.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Have a
Bye,
good day.
Paula.
We'll see you on First at 4. All right.
Oh yeah, she will.
Does it shock anybody that one time as a kid in Kiowa Island, South Carolina, we were in a stilted condo or something, and I went down to the canal and started throwing Triscuits at the alligator.
Yeah. How are you even here?
Right.
I mean,
It's a hand.
Side to side. We run.
he's like
Zigzag.
Happy Gilmore.
Right. But when
He
you
dives in and starts wrestling the alligator.
when you were some of the stories Brandon's told me though, I think he probably thought he could do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's this. I would have done the same thing. I'm not judging because we're the same
Right.
person.
But let me ask you this, Jason, because I mean, are the alligator fast? Like when you were in the
Yeah.
golf team, had they ever chased you? Had you ever had
No,
to?
but we learned how to run away from alligators. You run like this.
Yeah, you zigzag.
You don't run straight because they can
Okay.
actually run pretty
Eyes
fast
on
straight. It's serious. You just don't go near. You don't go into any weeds or into the water to reach it. Like up here, I used to, as a kid, we would actually roll the pants up and walk around, my brother and I, and feel for golf balls and get like 20
Oh, for
out of
sure.
it. When you go in the
Yeah.
woods,
You're out
you
there
do
with
it.
your
Something in
bucket.
hand, right? You got the.
Well, what are we
golf
worried
club
about? A
or-
turtle?
Meanwhile, I
Down
thought you
there.
were a good golfer. Why were you hitting in the water?
In high school, it was a little different story. I didn't ever say I hit every fairway, but
Right.
but no, I would have. Answer is yes. I probably would have hit that shot while somebody kept an eye on it.
Yeah.
Somebody would just go, yeah, he's good. He's staying there. He's staying there, and then you go hit the shot.
You know what? There's enough things to think about when you're in your stance to hit a golf ball. Adding the fact that an alligator could
alligator
maul
behind
you,
you.
forget it. I would just take a drop somewhere else and take the stroke away.
They
from
would
me.
rather go after a lazy bass or a little turtle in the pond, I think, than
Than someone
or,
like
or a
Jason.
kid throwing Triscuits,
Right.
something like that. Some easy prey.
Right, exactly.
I think back on it, and it's one of those now it all makes sense moments.
Uh-huh.
You guys have fun.
All right,
Thank
we'll
you.
see you on Local 4 News at 5 o'clock, live at 5.
Those predatory animals, they have probably a good 10 to 20 foot burst, because that's how they're getting their prey. But I think if you had, a 5-minute run, the thing would be nowhere near you.
You could
It's
make
just
it.
that first,
Not going to
little
test
bit.
that out.
What do we have next, John?
This
this
is new evidence that a dinosaur gave live birth. They found a fossil that had an embryo in it and not
What?
an egg. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the oldest reptile they've found, specimen that gave live birth. There's a couple of reptiles that give live birth nowadays. I mean, there's a couple different snakes and such, but it's really rare, and that's what they're saying. This is the, I'm going to have a hard time pronouncing it, but
Oh, the type of dinosaur?
Dinocephalosaurus?
Hey, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's what it is. Looks
Wow.
just like that. This is an early ancestor, actually, of crocodiles and birds and a couple of those reptiles. 13 feet long. Most of it's just in the neck.
It looks
Wow.
like a... Oh, yeah.
That is, man, you imagine, you look at some of the animals, and there are, who knows how many thousands of species in the ocean that we haven't even discovered yet. There could be something like that still living somewhere down 10,000
Yeah.
feet in a sort of an earth or a fault line that has divided or something like that. You don't know. Nessie down
Wow.
So yeah, no egg. This was a live embryo, 245 million year old fossil of a pregnant reptile.
Huh.
Amazing.
It's just incredible to still continually find these things from, all these years ago.
Right.
It's fascinating. And then to have that job, can you imagine that find? If you're an archaeologist and you're investigating what you just discovered, that's like the moment of your lifetime.
There's so much more there. You think about the changes, the glacier movements and the deserts that were once oceans and the things that have changed so much. These are areas that they're digging. Nobody wants to go out. You'd think one of us would stumble across something every once in a while, but these are out in very arid areas and very difficult areas that weren't always that way. And so that's where they're digging and finding stuff. We don't stumble upon it. They go through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to find it.
I'm
And
looking at one of our producers.
I
think he's trying to get my attention.
in China.
Yeah.
That they discovered this.
Sorry about that, John.
That's okay.
Aaron, did you need something? Okay, let's have Aaron come on, swing around, because this is what work is being done here. We get to hang out in Jason's place, and it takes like 5 people.
Well,
to
let me
do his
address.
Job. So this is Aaron Amos. He is our noon producer today, and he is assigning me to go do some work, so I have to go.
Well, Aaron.
It's a quick retrack about GM. That's it.
Okay.
That's all I need.
All right.
Say hi to everybody on Click on Facebook.
We can't tell you about what's happening with GM, but we will tell you on Local 4 News at noon.
Ooh.
So join us for that. Okay.
Such a tease.
I know. All right, so I'm going to scooch.
Thanks, Aaron.
Bye.
That's okay. I think we're pretty much done,
Yeah,
John. But
we're
I did
all
want to
there.
address a couple of people. John Pullum on Facebook says, Paula is so nice. Tammy Coleman, wow, the whole crew loving it. Frederick says, Paula. Lynn Smith says, hey, waving good morning. Tammy Coleman says, but missing Mr. Jason Carr. So are we.
It's like 10 of us. We'll be all coming on here doing our best to fill in for him.
Don't at all think that we're obviously taking over his spot, because we are no good, and I am no good. He is irreplaceable.
He's
but
got the lock on
he is
this.
not here today. So and Frederick Williams says, no way, I'm gone. I apologize, Frederick, if you're still there. Where's Jason Carr, Bridget? Just another day off for Jason today. And Liz says, this is so fun. Todd Coleman says, wow.
Well, hey, maybe we'll do it tomorrow.
Well, Jason, if you're watching, are you going to be here or not? Let us know.
Yeah,
Text me.
to like this. Let's write it out the rest of the week.
All right.
Oh, I forgot my mic's off. Okay. Ciao, everybody. Have a great day, and join us for Local 4 News at noon,
Thanks
please.
to John Steckroth for putting all the stories together, getting us on Click On and on Facebook. Hope you enjoyed the show, John. Take it away.
Stay classy, Detroit. Jason Carr Live was sponsored by the Mike Morris Law Firm, 855 Mike Wins.